As kids, there were tons of words we simply aren't allowed to say. One of my all-time favorite Rugrats episodes, Word of the Day, explores the fact of life both from the parent's perspective and the child's perspective. And I've got to say, that's honestly one of my favorite things about this Nicktoon. We almost always get a situation from both the babies and the adults. We start the episode with Tommy and Angelica watching TV, specifically Miss Carol's Happy House. Angelica's excited since it's her favorite person and her favorite TV show. Miss Carol seems sweet and kind enough and starts out the episode with her fun phrase, "What does Miss Carol think of her kids?" And the child would respond, "She thinks they're all fun-erific." Since it's a new month, the current child has to pick a new happy helper. Multiple names are drawn to go to audition, and Angelica's name actually gets called. She begins screaming and running around, as one obviously would when they get chosen for something this important. At the audition, Miss Stephanie is interviewing Angelica to see what she's made of. She seems very pleased with Angelica's performances and the energy that she brings as she goes over the tasks the children do on the show. She tells Angelica to watch the show tomorrow to see if she's a finalist. Angelica asks her mother, Charlotte, if she saw how great she was, and Angelica is so excited. But of course, Charlotte gets interrupted by a phone call from Jonathan, her assistant from work. Angelica sees Miss Carol walking to her dressing room and sneaks away from her busy mother, who is, in a true Rugrats adult fashion, no longer paying attention to her child. In the dressing room, we begin to see Miss Carol's true colors as she talks to Stephanie, but Angelica doesn't notice how rude and mean that she's being. Stephanie comes up with a new fun phrase. She thinks they're all swellomatic, but Miss Carol twists it around to say she thinks they're all little, and is cut off by a very loud noise. Angelica overhears Miss Carol and is excited that she is the first kid to know the new fun phrase, as any kid would be. The next day, Angelica gets chosen as a finalist, and the family is excited for her. Charlotte is explaining the show to Dee Dee and telling her what the fun phrase is, and Angelica tells her the new fun phrase that she heard Miss Carol say, but the word itself is, of course, cut off by a truck passing by. Charlotte faints after screaming, and Dee Dee tries to calm her down. Dee Dee says that they should turn to Lipschitz and pulls out her handy-dandy her pocket Lipschitz book. She types in the word and reads the advice to a distraught Charlotte. Drew and Charlotte sit Angelica down and tell her that the new fun phrase has a bad word in it and that they would appreciate if she didn't say it anymore. Angelica asks which word it is, which is honestly a great question. I mean, she's, 3? To her, all words are just words. They have no meaning. They refuse to tell her what word it is, so of course she starts to guess. She finally realizes which word it is. This time it's cut off by a jackhammer, and she is no longer allowed to go beyond the show. Later on, Angelica apologizes, and Drew accepts her apology after she promises not to say it anymore. Angelica is happy and goes to get ready while Charlotte calls everyone to tell them to watch the show. At the studio, we see the other two finalists practicing the new fun phrase. She thinks we're all swellomatic. Stephanie brings Angelica to the stage as Drew and Charlotte go to take their seats. Stu, Lou, and Dee Dee are watching the show live from their living room. Miss Carol starts her episode by getting the finalists to say the fun phrase on TV. First child, Timmy, freezes in front of the camera and just kind of stutters around with wide eyes. Kim, the second finalist, begins to cry and runs for her mom. Angelica, super worried that she'll disappoint Miss Carol, stutters a bit before going with what she heard Miss Carol say in the dressing room after Miss Carol starts to yell at her. "Calm down, Miss Carol." She says it on live TV to the shock of everyone. Carol tries to kick Angelica out, but Angelica tells her that she was the one that said it in the first place. Carol finally snaps and says that yeah, she did say it, and guess what? She's gonna say it again. And what does she do? She says it again, and the TV cuts off and does that little emergency whatever. At her house, Angelica is watching the rebranded show Miss Stephanie's Happy House, depressed that she wasn't able to be the new happy helper. The babies come over to check on her and tell her that they're sorry that she didn't get to be on the show. Angelica says that she doesn't even know what the word means, but that Drew told her that it makes people feel bad. Chucky tells her that it makes them feel bad when Angelica calls them dumb, so maybe that's a bad word too. Angelica thinks on it for a moment and says she'll not say it as much, but she's still going to call them that. This episode has always been one of my favorites. It's got a good lesson for the kids, and honestly, I think the adults could find a lesson or two hidden in there for them as well. Something that always got me, though, is that later on in the series, Miss Carol makes a comeback with a special about how to tie shoes with her pet snakes, Hissy and Sissy. Was this whole incident just forgiven? How much money does Miss Carroll have that she was able to pay off the higher-ups to make everyone just forget about her incident? How powerful is Miss Carroll?